This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we're going to explain why it is not nice to sell a property you don't own, and it can be expensive, and why a title insurance company is subrogated to the rights of the defrauded buyer and is entitled to recover from the fraud perpetrator. In Lewis versus Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, the Court of Appeals of Georgia on April 26, 2023, dealt with the claim of Torriel Deyon Lewis, who appealed the grant of summary judgment to Fidelity National Insurance Company in Fidelity's fraud action against him. When a party moves for summary judgment and supports his or her motion by submitting affidavits, depositions, or answers to interrogatories, the non-moving party may not rest upon the mere allegations and must set forth specific facts showing that there is a genuine issue for trial. In 2007, an entity called House Rescue 911 L.L.C., referred to as the Old House Rescue, acquired a parcel of real property. In 2010, Old House Rescue was administratively dissolved by the Secretary of State. The records of the Georgia Secretary of State show that on February 3, 2017, an entity named House Rescue 911 L.L.C., the new House Rescue 911, was formed. New House Rescue 911's name was identical to Old House Rescue 911's name, except for the absence of periods between the letters L.L.C. Lewis was listed as the registered agent of New House Rescue 911, and New House Rescue and Lewis were not affiliated in any way with Old House Rescue. 3 weeks after it was formed, New House Rescue 911 purported to sell and to convey by limited warranty deed the parcel of real property that Old House Rescue had acquired in 2007. Lewis and New House Rescue had no basis for claiming ownership of the property and had no right to convey any rights to the property. In 2019, the purchaser of the property, Fidelity's Insured, was named as a defendant in a petition to quiet title brought by the members of the administratively dissolved Old House Rescue. The Superior Court quieted title in the petitioner's favor, and Fidelity paid its insured $66,000 under the requirements of its title policy. Fidelity then sued New House Rescue and Lewis. The trial court entered a default judgment against New House Rescue and granted Fidelity's motion for summary judgment against Lewis. Lewis filed a pro se appeal, acting as his own attorney, and dealt with the claim of fraud. Now, the tort of fraud has 5 elements of false representation by a defendant, scienter, intention to induce the plaintiff to act or refrain from acting, justifiable reliance by the plaintiff, and damage to the plaintiff. Fidelity presented evidence that New House Rescue never owned the property, that Lewis and New House Rescue had no basis for claiming ownership of the property and had no right to convey any rights to the property. But Lewis nonetheless attested that New House Rescue owned the property. In the owner's affidavit, Lewis attested that he was making the affidavit to induce the purchaser to purchase said real property and to induce Fidelity National to issue a title insurance policy. And of course, Fidelity did issue a title insurance policy. Lewis argued that any reliance on his false representation was not justified because Fidelity did not exercise due diligence. Fidelity presented undisputed evidence that the chain of title showed that the title of the property was vested in House Rescue 911 L.L.C. A title search would not have shown that New House Rescue 911 L.L.C. without the periods between the letters was a different entity and was not formed until after Old House Rescue had acquired the property. A purchaser of land is charged with constructive notice of the contents of recorded instruments within its chain of title. Conversely, a purchaser is not charged with constructive notice of interests or encumbrances which have been recorded outside the chain of title. The Court of Appeal concluded that Lewis pointed to no evidence creating a question of fact on the justifiable reliance element of Fidelity's fraud claim. An LLC member may be held individually liable if he or she personally participates or cooperates in a tort committed by the LLC or directs it to be done. The undisputed evidence was that Lewis was a member of New House Rescue, that he falsely represented that New House Rescue owned the property, and that he signed the limited warranty deed and the owner's affidavit on behalf of New House Rescue. Therefore, the trial court did not err in finding that he was personally liable, and the judgment was affirmed. Fraud perpetrators are not honest or reliable, in my opinion. They lie. Clearly, New House Rescue and its manager, Lewis, lied to the buyer of a piece of real property it did not own, and also intentionally deceived the buyer and the title insurer. Mr. Lewis was personally responsible to reimburse the title insurer for the money it was required to pay to its insured, and it was entitled to subrogate against the fraud perpetrator. In this case, at least by court decision, the fraud perpetrator did not succeed in his criminal conduct. He should have been reported, in fact, to the state prosecutor to prosecute him for the fraud. Regardless, he owes the insurer the full amount of the judgment plus interest, and hopefully they will be able to collect. This video was adapted from my blog, Zalma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zalma.com/blog. It is also available for subscription for free, where you can gain notice of all new postings on the blog, usually 5, sometimes 6 a week, and access to the more than 4,500 blog postings. You can also subscribe to the videos on YouTube and on rumble.com, where you will be able to view or listen to these videos. And you can subscribe to them at no cost. And I'd appreciate it if you found the videos to be useful, that you click on the like button on YouTube and the like button on rumble.com. And also, please tell your friends and colleagues about the blog and the videos so that they too can subscribe and learn more about insurance and insurance claims. And if you wish further detail, you might also wish to subscribe to my locals community and my Substack publications, which for a very small fee are available to give you greater detail. Thank you for your attention.